Peter, I'm going to turn to you. I want to talk specifically about Diversity Atlas. It's a very, very unique product. There's nothing really that matches it. Can you tell us what it is? And Reza gave a little bit about why now. And I'd also like to ask, why is it so important in this 21st century, especially when we're talking about DEI, probably more than we ever have?
Yeah, and that's an excellent question. And why in the 21st century, and why is it more important than ever? Well, I think if we go back to the 80s, go back to the late 80s, 1989, the year of when the Berlin Wall, was brought down, and Fukuyama said that this is going to be the end of all wars and the end of, history as we understand it, and the world's going to move into a new age. And you had people like Tim Berners-Lee, who gave us the World Wide Web. So all of a sudden, the world started to find itself with this internet, which started to connect us. And then we found ourselves living in what they call and describe as this sort of hyper-diverse world, this super-diverse world, where communication was happening instantly. So everyone's now being exposed to a whole range of ideas across the globe. At the same time, we started to experience a whole range of economic benefits that came with that too. So there's massive economic globalization that came in a period of 3 decades. But did we start to experience, a globalization around values and ethics? And probably not. And I think the ability to be able to relate to the other, to understand the other, to be able to understand the amount of diverse expressions that we've been exposed to on a daily basis requires a competency at the end of the day. And I think what Diversity Atlas is able to do very, very quickly through the experience of taking the survey in 4 minutes and using enormous computing technology is it's able to offer comprehensive insights. And for the first time, organisations now can get a sense of who they are, which they didn't. Most organisations out there, and annually, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on marketing technologies to understand their customers. And if you look at the likes of, Google and Amazon, and seeing how and so what I think we've started to experience in this, so I'm going back to marketing technologies. So if you look at marketing technologies 30 years ago and how pretty basic they were, they were looking at gender, age, maybe education, some other demographics, and it becomes so advanced that to the point where the likes of Amazon and Google and so many other tech giants know what the customer's going to buy before the customer's worked out what they're going to buy. But did they know themselves? And I think that's what Diversity Atlas is able to do. It's able to quickly put the organisation under this spotlight and reveal the diversity, the hidden diversity that exists within every single organisation, because we're able to really start to look at cultural diversity and see how that intersects against a whole range of other demographic dimensions. So we're not just looking at diversity through the gender lens, but we might be looking at diversity through gender and how it intersects with secular, non-secular traditions, biological sex, how it intersects with position type, position level, and a whole range of other dimensions. And I think that's the beauty of Diversity Atlas, that for the first time, organisations can see who they are, and it uses inclusive data sets. And those inclusive data sets have taken the better part of more than 3 decades to develop. And we're constantly developing them through the citizen science approach, where we're democratizing these data sets and people are giving us real live input. So we don't see languages being separate to culture. We don't see cultures being separate to secular and non-secular traditions or countries. We recognize there's an interdependency and this connection between all of them. But when you look at cultural diversity and then you look at all these other dimensions of diversity, then that can start to inform a whole range of strategies, because the data that we're looking at, everyone's being included, and there's a story in all that data.